This episode contains topics that may be sensitive to some listeners. Check out the show notes for more information. Thank you for tuning in.
Time, weather, and...
Papa, do you want to play with me?
Not now, darling. Your father is, I'm going to hang out with some friends.
Okay, bye, Papa. Dad, can I have some money to get a drink with my friends?
I'm sorry, darling. We're a bit short on money this week. Next week, okay? I promise.
Yeah. Okay, Dad. Dad, I'm going to the drive, okay? Dad, did you see my wallet?
No, darling, please. Your dad has a headache.
Hey, why do you have my wallet?
I got us some groceries. It's okay. I'll pay you back.
I got groceries yesterday. You're fucking lying.
Darling, please don't shout. My head, I can explain.
Fuck you.
You can't always see if someone is suffering. Using neomorphic memories affects more than your present. It destroys your future.
Wake up, New Vilirth. I'm Frida Obla, coming live to you from the New Vilirth Broadcast Center with the weather and traffic report. We have another cloudless day ahead of us, promising a significant change in temperature tonight, dropping from 40 degrees Celsius to minus 15 after sunset. Furthermore, sandstorms are approaching the city from the east and will arrive tonight as dusk settles in. Make sure to close your windows and doors and pay extra attention during the evening rush as visibility will be low. Weather for the remainder of the week is a steady 35 degrees and sunny with persistent strong winds. On the roads, there are no traffic jams to report. The Southern Underground entrance from the docks will reopen tomorrow. That was all, Regulus. Back to you.
There's a rot in the heart of this city.
The New Vilirth Metropolitan warns about the dangers of a new drug overtaking the streets.
The government launched a campaign against the use of neomorphic memories.
This city's nothing but copper and visions of the past.
It's a black day. For all of us.
Who doesn't dream of the times gone by?
Unsavory figures can no longer hide in the shadows.
Such is my promise.
Wake up, New Vilirth. Chapter 1. Hot as they make 'em.
They've gotten to this one too!
I looked down at the casket. Sand pulled in from the sides and onto the headless body. Sheets were wrapped around it. I kicked the lid back in place and started shoveling the red sand back over the grave. The headstone began sinking forward. I pushed it back with my boot and threw some sand around it in an attempt to keep it upright. I patted the headstone and straightened. The sun burned through the shawls I had draped over my head. I kept having to defog my goggles and sweat pooled in the nape of my neck under my long braid. For the umpteenth time in these past 5 moons, I debated cutting it all off. But when the frustration would ebb, I knew I'd regret it. It was the only frivolous thing I still had to take care of. Rhea stood on a sand dune next to a large headstone. The sun shone behind her, casting a long shadow on the sand that almost reached me. The shadow at my feet tilted its head, mirroring Rhea. Rhea too had draped shawls over her hair and around her neck and shoulders. They billowed in the wind. The sun, which cut out her silhouette against the blue sky, added to her imposing figure. I started my climb up the sand dune. My feet slipped in the sand, causing every step to cost twice the effort. As I neared the top, our hovercraft came into view behind Rhea. It was a lot more bulky than I liked my hovers. It used to be a cargo model, until we stole it. The hover stood next to a crumbling wall, which was most what was left of this village. We had passed it on our way back, expecting very little. If we found the village this easily, we figured, nothing would be left. Unfortunately, we were right.
Tuula,
Again, just call her Lou. If anything, she listens better to that. I muttered the words because Rhea wasn't going to listen to them. Lou told me to stop trying moons ago.
You make it sound like she's a dog.
Well, you make it sound as if we're in a formal business relationship.
Where on earth is she?
Lou was nowhere to be seen. There was nothing but these ruins, and beyond that stretched only desert.
Tuula, hurry up!
The sun made her grumpy, more so than usual. Rhea turned to me.
Where is she?
Hey, I don't know.
Coming!
A voice echoed from between the ruins. Lou came jogging around the corner. She was carrying something, but from this distance I couldn't tell what.
I found an old car. Or well, parts of it had been ripped apart, but most of the tech was still intact.
She held up her hands, one normal and the other made from metal starting from the elbow. She showed us the bits and pieces. Her goggles sat on her head, and she pulled her mask down. Her face was covered in dust, yet her eyes were bright and excited.
That's nice. We have to get going. I want to be in this city either tonight or early morning.
So you've told us for the 18th time already. Rhea was already walking down the dune towards our hovercraft. She probably could hear me, but decided to ignore me. Lou stuffed the materials in a satchel and followed Rhea. She barely reached Rhea's chest. Seeing the difference between them was almost comical. While Lou was a few years younger than us, her height sometimes got her mixed up for a teenager, or even a child. Lou's black hair accentuated her round face. It was choppy and uneven in some places. It danced around her face as she slid down the dune. She was the only one who dared to cut her hair these past moons. I moved to follow when I saw something in the corner of my eye. What's that? I stopped and looked around, but saw nothing but silent ruins. A trick of the light, perhaps, or a shadow. Except that there were no shadows here, at least none that moved.
Get the hover started.
I sprinted forward. From my back, I took my father's sniper rifle. I loaded it mid-run, which was about the only smooth move I could pull off with this thing. Until 5 moons ago, I had never even once loaded it. A bullet fumbled from my hand, disappearing into the sand. Oh, fuck me. I considered fishing it out. We didn't have an unlimited supply. Then I got my head back. No matter. Nothing that was here with us would be friendly. I needed to run.
What is it?
She also started to run.
No clue, but it can't be good. Go!
As soon as Rhea reached the hover, she hopped in and disappeared into the cockpit. I hurtled down the slope of the dune and met Lou halfway to the hovercraft. That's when the sand broke open in front of us. It was a fitting name for the beast. The first thing I saw was its tail, curled over its body with an unpleasant stinger at the end. I didn't like scorpions when they were normal-sized, and this one reached up to our waists. Its claws came out of the sand, bigger than my head. Its body was half transparent and brown. Its veins bulged under the surface. The bullet left my barrel seconds later and planted in the animal's shoulder. Before it could finish shrieking, its shoulder exploded, ripping off one of its claws.
These bullets are fantastic!
Thanks. All right, stand back.
She threw a fabricated bomb and it hit its target. The Neek's flank exploded.
Did that do it?
No!
It barreled towards us, albeit not as fast as it probably would have liked, but still fast enough. I reloaded my sniper rifle, but missed. I was too close to get a proper shot.
Fuck!
Willow! Here!
Thanks. Lou threw me a pistol. I let it rattle, shooting bullet after bullet into the beast's body as it came closer. The moment the bullets settled into the Neek's skin, they exploded, splattering us with goo.
Why isn't it stopping? It should be dead by now.
A glint of silver hurled towards us, and it landed perfectly in the Neek's long tail to which its nasty stinger was attached. Too bad it wasn't female. The poison they carried could have made our profit so much nicer. The Nick turned around, barreling towards Rhea in the hover's opening.
Tuula!
The name carried a simple command, and Lou threw another bomb.
Come on!
The explosion stopped the beast in its tracks, confusing it. In that moment, Rhea lunged forward with another one of those lethal daggers. She sliced open the beast's entire side, spilling guts onto the sand. The Neek, however, wasn't ready to give up and swung its tail right at where Rhea had just been, towards the hover. I shouted as it smashed through the side, leaving a gaping hole in the grey hull. Several crates tumbled out. I launched forward like one of my bullets. I was too late. I nearly stopped breathing as the crates split apart in the sand. Even with the Neek shrieking, I heard the vials break. I knelt down next to the crate. I tried to get the clear liquid back into the vials, but it spilled onto the sand and pooled around my knees.
No!
Willow, watch out!
I turned in time to see the beast charge towards me. Rhea jumped and landed on its back. I jumped away from the hover to avoid getting smashed by the Neek. I watched Rhea pull out her dagger and slice off its tail with one swoop. The tail flopped down at my feet. Rhea pulled out a gun and aimed it directly at its head. The shot blew out its eyes, splattering brain matter on the three of us. We took a moment to catch our breath. Well, that went better than last time. I looked at the gaping hole in the side of the hover. The crates lay, smashed in the sand. I felt sick to my stomach to guess how much profit that had cost us.
Fuck!
She looked at the spilled liquid.
I told you to watch the hover. Fuck!
Can you fix it? I was unsure if I should be more concerned about the vials or the fact that there was a giant hole in the side of the hover.
No worries. Give me 1, maybe 2 bells and I'll have it up and running again. That car had some panels I can use. Should be fine. Get going. We need to get out of here before it gets dark.
Time, weather, and the past.
5 more minutes. Great.
Her voice came from inside the hover and sounded more muffled because of a dust mask. The sun burned down on us. The carcass of the Neek smelled. It started to attract flies. For now. I didn't want to find out what else it would attract once the sun went down. Rhea had been sitting behind the hover on the same red stone in the slither of shadow for the last 3 bells. Her black wave swallowed the light completely. A row of silver piercings shone on her ear. A single braid ran from the top of her head, keeping loose strands out of her angled face. Rhea slid a knife against the dark stone. 5 knives lay by her feet, sharpened. A thin sheen of sweat lay over her blue-tinted grey skin, which was typical to the Dogolvar. The telling yellow pupils of a night elf glinted behind her goggles. I tried to sprinkle questions into our conversations, curious to find out more about who Rhea Rosanen was. But she was a closed book. A glued shut, encased in a welded box and thrown into the depths of the ocean type of closed book. Lou stepped out from the hover, her cheeks red and her hair crumpled.
That should do it.
Are you sure? We admired Lou's work. Rough welding lines glistened, wriggling around the hole the Neek had made in the side of the hover.
Don't worry, I know my onions.
I watched the hole apprehensively, but I didn't say anything. I jumped onto the hover's ledge and disappeared into the small cabin.
Oh, by all hells, it's blazing in here.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. It's cozy.
The air conditioning had given out 1 moonspan ago. Although Lou kept fixing it, it kept breaking. After the 5th time it broke, Lou wasn't even able to hear the words air conditioning without getting angry. I plopped down and turned the key in the ignition. All right. hover rumbled to life. Or more like roared. I flinched and looked at Lou, who shrugged.
It's working.
I kept my doubts to myself. I put on the headphones that connected to my transmitter, and I took the steering wheel. We didn't mention the automatic pilot to Lou either. Rhea strapped herself in next to me. The radar spread out on the screen in front of her. The moment I heard the click from her buckle, I blasted away towards the horizon. With the doors closed and my headphones on, I could almost ignore the rattling of the hovercraft. I really did believe Lou had fixed it, or at least tried her very best, but the options were rather limited in the middle of the desert. We had prepared for common fixes, such as failing motor drives, broken fan blades and oxidized switches, but we hadn't exactly planned for a neek to smash through the side of our hovercraft. Or maybe we had. It was the sort of thing that happened out in the desert, and the reason why we brought someone like Lou. Sand blasted around us. The cloud obscured my sight, but I could rely on the radar, the one thing that did still work around here. I sank in my chair and rolled back my shoulders.
What do you reckon? Can we still make it tonight?
Possibly. It should be around 10 bells to the city. If we skip dinner, it should be possible.
Dinner is not going to make a difference.
I heard Lou open a toolbox. The rusted and sandy hinges squeaked through my transmitter. I glanced around. Lou unscrewed her arm and placed it on a tray in a lap, where an assortment of wires and a circuit board already lay. As she worked, they danced around the tray to the vibration of the hovercraft. Behind us, the hover was filled with wooden crates in so many different sizes and colors, it somehow looked intentional. The only thing they had in common were the words we had painted onto them with a neat stencil. Fragile, handle with care. We had done a shabby job of strapping everything together, but at least it wouldn't shoot forward. By some miracle, it had survived even that neek attack, more or less.
We should start heading east.
We'll get too close to the von Leerkopf mines.
I pulled up a map of snaking lines on the orange and black screen.
They'll be shot when we pass. My uncle and Nilas, my cousin, usually work until 9 bells at the latest. We'll be avoiding a lot of open sand. There are great patches of drift sand if we go straight to the city. I trust Tuula did as good of a job as she could, but I don't want to get stuck there. I don't think this thing can handle another monster.
I corrected the direction. I preferred to use the position of the sun, but with the sand obscuring my vision, I had to rely on the compass. Its needle shifted southeast. My map showed the edges of the mountain ranges to the east, rising from the dregs of the desert. The highest peak of the Copper Mountains shadowed the von Leerkopf mines to the south. A few more bells and we would be able to see Mount Spinell. Down the mountain range towards the south lay a maze of roads. Most were inaccurate or no longer in working order. The map hadn't been updated in a while. Around those snaking roads, the city of New Vilirth spread out, dipping its toes into the southern sea.
Time, weather, and pass.
Darkness took its time in the desert. For miles and miles, there was nothing to obscure the sun before it dipped beyond the dunes. Although I longed for shade, I knew I'd soon miss the warmth as temperatures plummeted far below zero during the night. The sun threatened to disappear for the night. I wasn't very hungry, but my arms and legs were sore.
Let's stop for dinner.
5 minutes.
10.
Any damage caused by another monster will be taken off your profit.
Fine.
Good.
Rhea unpacked the camping stove and 3 packs of powdered food and stepped out of the hover. It took several minutes while we prepared dinner for the dust to settle around us. In the far distance, a patch in the dark sky seemed to glow. It might be the darkness playing tricks on my eyes, as it was barely visible, but it sent a shiver through me. We were so close. When I looked back at Lou and Rhea, Lou's eyes were fixed into the distance as well. Rhea, unfazed, held out a cup of unrecognizable stew to me. I picked up a spoon and wiped it on my pants, which added as much sand as it brushed off, and also a bit of neek splatter. Disgusting. I blew on it for good measure, but gave up pretty quickly. Sand ground through my teeth as I chewed.
I miss food the most.
She held up a spoon. Chunky orange stew splashed back into the cup. I miss not having sand on my everything. Although solid food came as a close second.
A shower and a piece of bread.
Rhea stayed quiet. Lou and I lapsed into silence as well. The last streaks of sunlight threw our faces into heavy shadows.
We should get going.
I dragged myself out of the sand.
I can take over for a while.
My first instinct was to say no. I could handle it. But darkness had true and well set in, which meant we had been going for the past 6 bells at least. And Rhea, with her dog-of-war eyesight, was better at the evening shifts. Instead of settling myself on one of the passenger seats, I chose to head into the bedroom. We had left a narrow path through the crates that led to a room with 2 bunk beds. The one bed that wasn't occupied was filled with more wooden crates, but also food, clothes, books, and many unidentifiable electrical items in various stages of being taken apart. A sniper case pretended to be a human in the upper left bunk. Every inch of space was covered with a fine layer of red desert dust. Not even the withered houseplant has escaped a coating. I flicked a finger against the plant to shake off the sand.
Evening, Engelbert.
I pulled off my vest.
You could use some water. Perhaps I won't forget tomorrow.
I unstrapped my utility belt and laced down my boots. Undoing myself from those things almost felt like a relief. Now all I needed was a shower long enough to drain the entire city's water tank. I lifted my father's sniper case from the bed, carefully set it aside and climbed in. I had a few seconds to wonder if the sound of the hover would keep me awake when I fell asleep on top of the blankets.
Time, weather, and pass.
I woke up freezing. Groggily, I pulled the sheets over my body, but now that I was cold, a thin sheet wouldn't help. 5 minutes later, I gave up and climbed over the edge of my bunk, down the stairs, avoiding the last step, which had already broken. We had made the bunk beds from some scrap wood in the week after acquiring the cargo hover. Clearly, none of us were carpenters, although Lou came closest to it. At least she knew how to hold a saw.
Hello, sleepyhead.
She, with her hair sticking out at all sides, looked like she had just woken up from a nap as well. I slid into the seat next to Rhea and shook the sand out of my headphones before putting them on. It was still dark outside, but the horizon was no longer empty. Instead, sandbanks had changed into rocks and here and there some yellow grass. To our left, the Copper Mountains loomed with Mount Spinell in its midst, steep and tall enough to obscure any sky. And straight ahead, a metropolis of light lay in the dark. Our headlights were off, but my eyes were accustomed to the dark, and I could see the silhouettes of the buildings growing. At night, the city looked grand. Skyscrapers reached as high as the mountain peaks on our side. The lights of the city shone brighter than the stars up ahead. Even during the witching bell, New Vilirth was alive. I smiled.
We've been receiving radio signals.
I leaned over to change the frequency of the radio.
With the news in 5 minutes, but first, I invite you to listen to this new song. In my opinion, it's a hit. Their name is Sif, and this is Hell of a Ride.
Midnight with Matt and Mason.
Yeah, you betcha.
It was good to finally hear voices different from Rhea's and Lou's. Rhea steered the hover to the west of the city. Here, instead of an entrance of skyscrapers, we were greeted by towers of garbage. Rhea closed the air vents, but even so, the sour smell seeped into our hover and lingered for minutes afterwards. The wastelands merged into the outskirts of the city. I never came here, to where the tracks ended in the abandoned marshalling yard. Dozens of trains, of which Lou would have been able to tell the model, stood collecting dust. To me, they were just old rattlers, rusted through with red sand piled up against their wheels. We followed the tracks that led from the marshalling yard past Alta Westmark Station. A building loomed in front of us. I knew what was coming. For a moment, it seemed like we were headed straight towards it, but then the track dove underground and we followed it into the tunnel. I unclasped my fingers from the edge of my chair. Dodging a ravaged train, Rhea flew deeper into the maze of tunnels. They opened up into a cavern that dwarfed our hover. Layers of shops, houses, and pubs clung to the wall like mushrooms. Walkways and stairways connected the different levels of buildings. The streets bustled with life, despite the late night. In the throng of vehicles, no one noticed our spluttering hover. Rhea turned into a dead-end alley where she parked the hover. The three of us would have flown through the roof hadn't it been for our buckles. One of the wooden crates slid out of its bindings, and Lou just managed to catch it before it smashed to the ground.
Fuck. Shit.
Rhea turned the key in the ignition, but it wouldn't start.
It's done. I'll check it out once everything is inside.
She placed the crate neatly on top of the others and stretched. Her back cracked loudly.
Okay, let's do this.
I pulled open the door and took in the warm, stuffy smell of the underground with a dramatic inhale. We were back. Dust never settled here. A constant haze lay over New Vilirth like a dirty camera lens. I jumped down. Gravel crunched under my boots. Rhea and Lou stepped down on either side of me. We watched the city. It stank. The heat made sure everything we threw out started rotting right away. That smell, combined with the rank stink of the sewers and the overwhelming petroleum gases, made for a lovely cocktail. Repulsing, yet somehow soothing. Or familiar, at least. Soothing might be pushing it. Rhea had parked the hover underneath a wooden set of stairs that led into a house halfway up the cavern walls.
Let's get this upstairs. The Vanguard might have already picked up on us returning.
The thought made me anxious. Rhea was never entirely clear on what her current standing with the Vanguard was. For me, this was a one-off job. I wasn't in any hurry to get on the Vanguard's bad side.
Sure, it's not that dire.
Right? Rhea had already picked up 2 boxes and was making her way up the stairs.
Okay.
I followed her. I knew which steps to skip and which side of the stairs to take, even with my eyes closed. Although I knew it wouldn't be fun the 10th time I walked up these stairs with a chest in my hands, I reveled in it now. We turned the corner and the front of my house became visible, if you could call it a house. It was more like a hut, but it did have glass windows and some charm in its weathered wood. It sat quite high up the tunnel's wall. Another set of stairs broke out from the main one, leading to my front door. I sped up, pushing onto Rhea's heels. She landed on a veranda of sorts. I squeezed past her and stuck the key in the first lock, and then the second, and the third, and I undid the bolt and opened the door. More dust greeted us.
Willow.
I'm taking a moment. She stepped straight into my house. It was strange to be back. New Vilirth had never truly felt like home. Home was on the other side of the sea. However, being away for 5 moons had made me realize how much I had started to rely on this place. I set the crate down in the back room that acted as a bedroom, but hid a storage. My paramedic uniform still lay thrown over a chair, where I dumped it, expecting to put it on the next day. And then I never did again. A calendar on the wall still hung on almost half a year ago. Nothing was marked on it, except for the 20th day. That was when I got to call my dad. 15 precious minutes, once every other moon. I'd missed this moon's call by a few days. I wanted to linger, but Rhea had already gone back down to the hover, and I knew I should too. I darted down the stairs to grab the next batch. We ran up and down in a procession. By the time I picked up the last crate, I was covered in sweat. Several splinters had pierced through my skin. I placed the crate on top of the others and assessed my hands. I plucked a shallow splinter out of my palm. Dea slammed the door and bolted it shut. I walked back into the living room to find Lou already sprawled on the couch. Usually, the couch was a faded yet pleasant green, but currently it was completely covered with dust. So was everything else. I heaved a sigh, but joined Lou on the couch. I'd deal with that tomorrow.
We'll have to get rid of it as soon as possible.
She sat down in front of us.
Tonight, if we can. Tuula, can make sure the hover is working?
I'll take some food first. Something solid.
Willow, this is serious. We'll get something from the hover.
Great. More stew.
Yay.
I slid further down on the couch. We stayed like that for a while. In the end, I closed my eyes. I'd have to get up eventually, but travel had made me wary. I just wanted to sleep. A bad idea, because it put me at a disadvantage when the door slammed open in 1,000 splinters and windows on either side crashed. Hands pushed me into the couch and the cold barrel of a gun pressed against my temple.
What are you doing here?
The crates were visible from where I sat. Panic surged through my body. I struggled against the hand that held me, but it was no use. Rhea swung towards her attackers. She landed a hit on someone dressed in all black, but was wrestled down. 3, 5, 10 figures were upon us. A cloth pressed against my mouth. I writhed when a sharp smell burned in my nose and throat. I hadn't even had time to get up from my lounging position to give so much as a kick. I tried to focus, tried to stay awake, but my body gave up on me and I sank into blackness.
Wake Up New Vilirth is created, produced and written by Lisa van Hees. Directed and co-produced by Iris-sanne van der Aar. Our brilliant team of voices consists of Sigrid van Setten as Rhea, Carré Albers as Willow, Swaeske Dooper-de Vries as Tuula, Fey Lehiane, Lin Schalken, Joris van de Waterbeent, Tom van Hull and Daan Helmendach as our radio hosts, and Reno van Oostrum, Ezra Menard and Isa Marley as our supporting voices. Sound recording by Lisa van Hees and Jonas van Impe. Sound editing by Jonas van Impe. Sound design by Lode Wolterson. Music by Freya Terpstra en Teun Zeidner. Radio design by Joris van de Waterbeent. Directing assistance by Tom van Hull. Production assistance by Demi Oude-Elverink, Femke Bruil, Robert Kersies en Isa Marley. And cover art by Matt Roodhuizen. For a full list of our wonderful team, go to wakeupnewvilirth.com. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed your stay.